All right, so I believe we are live once again. So it is a little bit after midnight here in Idaho. Um, Everyone who's joining in, thanks for being here. We're going to do some milling today. So I made some improvements to my bandsaw recently, and I want to see if the improvements actually work. So come along as we figure it out. So here's the Delta bandsaw. And let's see if you can figure out what's changed, what kind of improvements I have made to it. So I added some rails under here that support this this additional table, and so those are the main benefits here. You see, I've got these wings extending out, so it gives plenty of support. So I should be able to get even heavy stuff through, and let's see how it works. Oh, who's hey, Pine Noaks and Billy. Thanks for being here, everybody. A tabletop, yeah. Basically expanding the functionality of the old bandsaw here. So, I don't know how well you can tell. Let me lower this a little bit, get a little bit better feel. There we go. So, probably can't see because of the support here, but there's a rail right here that I made out of angle iron that is bolted onto the cast iron table, and then that supports the expanded table along with these supports too. So I'm hoping that that will allow me to mill some relatively heavy stuff. So actually, let me lower the tripod here, and I'll take you for a little journey. We can find something to mill up. Let's see, we got some garden going on here. Corn's doing all right. The squash is doing all right, but so are all the weeds. So, and over here, let's see, we've got some really tall radishes, some cucumbers that are doing pretty well, some green beans are doing okay. And then we're not going to talk about all of the vines that are attacking the other box, along with some tomatoes, but whatever. All right. So I want to start with something relatively easy. I'm not sure if any of this is going to qualify, but probably not something. Whoa! As I try to injure myself on the cherry branch over here. All right. So probably don't want to start with something this big. So I'll throw that over there for the moment. How about this guy? So some nice little pear wood to get us started. All right. And so far, the table seems to be supporting the weight just fine. So that's a good sign. And let's see if I put it like that. That might give us a decent view. What do you guys think? Looks good? Hope so. Hope so, Billy. All right. Let me raise this up a tad. And we'll do that. All right. Now, how do I want to mill this up? Let me find my jig that I made for milling. Let's see if I've still got that over here somewhere. Where did I put it? Did I put it over here? There we go. Just need to remember where all my jigs are. All right, here we go. So the idea here is that I can attach my workpiece to this guy and then run this guy along a fence. So see if that's going to work. First, let me grab. So I made a fence that works with my the rails that I made here, and that fence is hiding over here. So this fence sits over the rails like so, but obviously with the extra table set up, this fence isn't going to work. So I don't have a fence yet that can span the entire length of this, but I do have a 4-foot level that I can attach, that I can clamp down. So I think I'll try to use that. Family's doing well. Thanks for asking, Billy. All right, so let me try screwing this guy on right there. So get some hearing and vision protection. And let's see, is that going to be? How long of a screw am I going to need for that? Are these going to be sufficient? Maybe. So let me back this off a little. Actually, you know what? I'll just use that. Okay. And see if that's enough to get a grip on this. Hey, what do you know? It worked. All right. And back that off a little. No, not quite that much. And see if I can get another hole. And go. Put this one right about there. Go. Grab another screw. right. So now I've got a flat surface to reference, and see what we can do with this guy. My blade, or my clearance here, goes up to about 12 inches of clearance. I think that's about right. About all I should need. All right, so how do I want to do this? Let me start with just hugging the line here. All right, I'll clamp that down. And get a clamp on my other side here. Right. That takes me right through the pith on this side and to the left of the pith over here. So let's see how we do here. All right, I need to set up my dust collection. I'll snake my vacuum hose over here. Plug that in. I need to plug in my bandsaw. And then let's see if this setup actually works. All right. Double checking everything here. All right, I think we're ready to roll. Okay, what do you guys think? Got a lot of checking on here because I didn't paint the ends of these when I first got them, and so there's a lot of checking, meaning this cracking that comes out from the pith. And you can see the cracks going through there, and then like down in here. So that's not great, but it's kind of some interesting looking wood. Trying to figure if that's burn marks there or that's just what the wood looks like. Any ideas? All right. And I'll just pull this all the way through. And looks like my dust collection didn't do as well as I'd hoped. But there's one board done. And let's see, I think I want to take it off of my, well, do I want to do that? I can take it off of my sled here, and actually, you know what I'm going to do? I've got an idea. All right, so I am going to remove it from the sled temporarily. Oh, come on. Get out of there. Okay. And I'm going to turn it on its side. So now it's riding flat. So this should be a lot safer. But because it's riding flat, my lip here is going to cause a problem unless I can flip it like that. So if I roll it like that, and then attach it, is that going to cause a problem? I think that should give me another flat edge here. So let's try that. And okay, I should have pre-drilled here. The other disadvantage I have of doing it this way is that I don't have something at the bottom to stabilize it. So it wants to just go all the way in. So I need it to I need these screws to bite a little bit, but not go all the way in. See if that works. Back that off a tad. Well, no, I'm gonna. All right. Let's see how that does. And that should take off just about the edge of my bark here. So here's my blade, which should come right around here. So let's see if I'm right. Let's get this going. Hey, Kevin, thanks for being here. Thanks, everyone. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the stream and subscribe and all the good stuff. Become a member if you want. All the good stuff. Relatively pale in color there. All right, and now I've got two relatively flat, relatively square sides. So I think I can take this guy off entirely. And then just use my flat and square sides to mill up the rest. But before I do that, I'm going to do some vacuuming. All right. All right. And now I just need to reset my fence. And I think I want him to be about 2 inches. That'll give me 8/4 segments. So, oh, I'm gonna move this guy over here. All right. I don't have a great way to see if I'm keeping it straight all the way across. Hope I am. I'm mostly just eyeballing that. And I just bumped it, so have to, oh crap. My support underneath was right where I needed to put my clamp. Come on. All right, so I've got that somewhat in place. And grab the other clamp here. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'd like for it to be as close as possible. All right, hopefully I don't have it going shorter on that end than I do on this end, which I think I do. So I'm going to move this over a bit. All right. Let's see how that does. All right. And definitely not tight enough on this end. All right, let's see how that does. Hey, Kevin, thanks for being a member for so long. 11 months, amazing. We got Kevin and Billy, Pine and Oak. Got all the coolest people are already here. All right, let's see if that works. And I'm gonna grab my little push stick down here just to make sure I'm not endangering my fingers. Let's try it. That seemed to work relatively well. All right, and I've got a little homemade kiln set up over here with a dehumidifier in it. Shift the dehumidifier over to that corner. And let's see here. Where do I have my stickers for this thing? Where did I put those? I don't have them up there, do I? Yeah, I do, of course. That's useful, having them where I can't access them when I want to. Okay. So the idea here is that I can put down some stickers, put down my wood, put some more stickers on top, pile them up, and then once I get it all loaded up, turn on the dehumidifier, which heats everything up in here and then also extracts water down into that bucket. That's how it's supposed to work anyway. We'll see if it actually does work that way. All right. And now I shouldn't have to change my position. Should still be at the the 8/4 mark here. Just clear out some of the dust. So that this guy can ride my fence. Oh, and also forgot before the last cut to lower this guy down a bit. One of the benefits of doing it this way, I don't have to have that blade up quite as high. All right, start over here. All right, so I've got dust collection on. Turn on this vacuum, turn on the bandsaw. I've got my offcut there. And I've got another 2/4 or 8/4 slab. I think that worked relatively well. So I'll put this in here. And actually, I'm going to scoot that guy over. And I might be able to double them up here. Yep. That should work pretty well. All right. And then I've got this guy that I'll just put down here for now. And all right, I think I'm ready for another log. Who's ready to go out with me? Not go out like on a date, but just, you know, go outside and get another log. Close the door behind me so we don't get a lot of bugs in the shop / garage. All right, I think I want another easy one. That one's a little odd shaped. I'm gonna go with this guy down here. All right. Okay, so I'll need to employ my jig again, and I'll need to back off my fence again. And let me give you a view over here. So I don't know how well you could see before what I was doing. But I think I want to put it like that so that this extra branch is coming off in my first cut. And that's definitely going to require that the blade guard to go up to about there again. Let's see. Is that pretty natural there? I want it to be as close to the log as possible there. I've got some holes already drilled in, so if those work, that's really convenient for me. And if they don't work, that's okay, but you can always drill new holes. Let's see here. I think that gives me my best chance at some good grip. So I'm going to drill into, oh, it just really wants to be like that. So I'm not going to fight it. I don't know that that's really even reaching. Let me get the other drill bit here. Okay, let me get that one in. All right. And put this one in. All right. Feels secure. All right. And now I need to replace my support over here. Apparently I knocked it off earlier. So it goes like so. There we go. That should support it. Okay. Now I want this cut pretty much there. It's pretty close to where we were before. So I'm just going to try to mimic that again and just go right along the edge of my original table. Where are y'all watching from today, tonight, this morning, whatever it is, wherever you are? Okay. Okay. That should hold. All right. See how that does. How's the view on this? You guys able to see okay? Am I missing anything that you really want to be able to see? Hey, Aussie man, Woods man, thanks for being here. We got Leon in the house. Thanks for watching from Lincoln, Missouri. Appreciate it. And Kevin's watching from bed. Sweet. All right, let's cut again. Ah, a little bit of knot there. Got some cool color. Put that off to the side. And got a fair amount of stuff to vacuum up. I'll do some vacuuming here. All right, and I think I'll do the same as before and release him from his current status. All right, and set him on the flattened side and flip this guy over. And I mean, that should still work even though it's at an angle. Let me see if it's better if I go this side. Yeah, I think so. All right, let's see if I can just drill those right back into place here. All right, I think that's pretty secure. And it's at an angle now, my support board. But this guy is still straight though. So if he's riding along my fence, it'll still give me a good cut, I would think. So let's see how that works. But do I need to adjust him a little bit? You know what, let's see how that works. Just like that. We'll try it. Leah needs to get to bed. All right. You know what? I think that gives me enough reference surface to use that against the fence. So, I think I'm going to vacuum a little. And I'll remove the jig. Right. And then I can just ride this against my fence. But I need to adjust my fence back to my 2-inch mark. Give or take. Here's my ruler. Right about there. Okay. See, that gets me 7.5. That's 7 7/8. Is that right? Let's try that. See if that works. Got a little bit of play in my fence, but it'll be all right, I hope. And get my, you know what, I'm going to use a stronger push stick. Use a little old cherry offcut here. That should be better. There we go. There we go. That should be strong enough. Well, apparently my motor decided that was a little too rough. Hmm. Hmm. The motor had struggled a little bit before that, but just slowing it down or stopping for a second seemed to make it work just fine. But I may have pushed it a little too hard that time. Pear wood is kind of tough, pretty hard. I'm going through 6 inches there. Yeah, maybe 6.5 where it stopped. And my motor is not wanting to turn on. Okay, it feels like it might be overheated. So let me try the old put an ice pack on it trick. Try not to expose any open parts to water. Let's see here. Ice pack. Ice pack. It may help to have multiple ice packs available. So just put some ice packs on it for a minute here and see if that cools it down enough to let me keep going. Let's see if I can get these to balance. They're balancing, hooray. Hey, how's it? Good to see you. Thanks for being here, appreciate it. We're at a little bit of a standstill, hoping it's just overheated a little bit and that after I cool it down, it'll restart without too much trouble. Anyone have any thoughts on this particular setup? Anyone have experience with these motors? This is a Delta motor, so it's probably original to the Bandsaw. I bought this bandsaw used a few months ago and have added some features to it. So one of the features that's easier to see from this side than when I was trying to show you on the other side. And let's see. So I added these rails right here. So there's a rail here and a rail over there. It's just made out of angle iron. And those are bolted into the original fence or the original table. And then I've got a fence that I made out of MDF that can ride that fence, or that can ride those rails. But I made those rails with slots for those bolts to go into, so I can raise them up to the same level as the table, but I can also lower them the 1/2 inch or so for these for this plywood. And so I've got, you know, a much wider surface here, so it makes it a lot easier to mill up logs like this and the bigger stuff that I have coming. What it doesn't help with is the motor having an issue, presumably, with how thick I'm trying to, you know, how thick the logs are that I'm trying to mill. So I might have to replace the motor. And I've got a replacement motor sitting in a box over there. So I can kind of touch the motor now. Let me see if it'll turn on. No. It's got a red button on here that I'm presuming means reset. All right, so still not turning on. And hey, good night, Kevin. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And let's see here. It is 62-158. So let's do a quick search for that. Delta 62-158 motor won't turn on. Possible overheated. How to reset. Let's see what Gemini says. Gemini says it's very common for the Delta 62-158 3/4 horsepower motor to overheat and shut down automatically if it's pushed too hard. Or clogged with wood dust. Interesting idea. That's definitely a possibility. I had a lot of dust accumulate, but I've got the vacuum going. I mean, there's definitely some dust in there, but I wouldn't. Well, no, that's just the blade guards down there on either side. So that's not sawdust. It's accumulated that's causing the problem. All right. So I'm going to put the ice packs back on here while I'm reading through this. And if any of you guys have some brilliant ideas, feel free to tell me in the chat. I'll just let that continue to cool off. Thermal overload won't reset until it cools enough. Can you blow the motor with air? Ooh, yeah, I can do that too. Let me turn on a fan over here. Has been pretty warm around here lately. So let me get, I'll unplug the bandsaw, unplug this guy in. And I'll just set him up here. And not sure how much cooling it'll get from the fan on the, especially if the fan just moves. But we can try to cool it down. Air hose if you have an air compressor. Yeah, I've got that right here. Turn that on. Good idea. All right. It is 3/4 horsepower. Yeah. Move that out of the way here. And let me see what else Gemini said for my solutions here. Let it cool down completely for 5 to 10 minutes. So we've been doing that. Will not click back into place while the motor is hot. Find the red circular plastic button, which I believe is right there. And firmly press it until I feel or hear a distinct click. Okay. I don't know if I heard a distinct click there. Oh, there we go. That might work. So let's try plugging it back in and seeing if it will turn on now. We have success. We'll get those out of the way so they don't melt and cause problems with water getting into the electrical. Thank you, chat, for your suggestions. I think blowing it with the air compressor probably helped a lot. So we will get back to cutting this guy up. And before I do that, I'm going to adjust this guy down again. I think that's my highest point. That should be good. All right. So let's try cutting through there again. Hopefully I'm going slow enough this time that it won't have any problems. I'll throw this guy over here. Get my eye and ear protection back on. Thanks again, everybody, for your help. Really appreciate that about the lives. If you replace it, would be best with 1.5 horse for a resign. Yeah, so I've got a motor to replace it with. The motor is sitting in a box over there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a 2 horsepower motor that I may be able to run at the 115 or 120 volt circuits that I have right now. But I might need to add a 240 volt circuit, which I've been planning to do over there, but I have not done yet. So that's, is the tension too tight on the blade? Maybe. I set it to the appropriate tension based on what the delta measurement here is. It's a 3/4 inch blade, and so I've got it tensioned to the 3/4 inch or 3/4 inch mark basically. A little bit lower than that, actually. I don't have a way to measure it otherwise. I know there's some way to get a better measurement on what it really should be, but I don't have that method. I think mostly I just need to take it a little bit slower. So, all right, let's give it another go here. So I didn't have too much trouble there, other than that initial issue. Got nice crack in there. Looks like that's not from just checking. Yeah, that's something more. So let me throw this over here on my. Actually, I'll get some new stickers down. Put it next to those. This is again the homemade kiln setup. If it fits, that would be a better motor. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should fit just fine. It's the same form factor. Has the same. It's a much bigger motor, but it's the same pattern, so it should fit just fine. It's the same RPM, and so as far as that all goes, it should work just fine. The main issue for me is if I'm going to run it, I probably need to upgrade to the 240 volt outlet in order to make it work properly. So, all right, get my push stick ready. Get that clear so it can ride the fence. All right, let's go again. Just when I was going to bed, it got interesting. Yeah, that's how it always works, Kevin. That's a nice color. What do you think? What do you guys think of that figure? And let me do some more vacuuming. All right. What do you think? Should we try one more? Nice cut. Yeah, it's not too bad. How many TPI blade? You know, this blade I got from the guy that I bought the bandsaw from. He gave me several other blades too. But I think it's 3 TPI. Let me take a look here. So, yeah, three teeth per inch. It works pretty well. This blade does have a pretty significant wobble in it. There's like a like at the weld, I think there's some imperfections, and so it moves side to side a fair amount. Let me show you while it's running here. So I've tried a few different things. I could probably make the guides here a little closer together on both top and bottom, but the blade just has a natural issue, I guess you could say. Um, it actually worked, I think, better with the 1/2 inch blade on it. But once I got the 3/4 inch blade on it, I was like, well, let's see if it'll do better if I just leave it on there for a bit. So, all right. Do I want to tackle a big one? Probably not. Because I'm only going to be able to cut through. I mean, the max capacity, the resaw capacity is 12 inches, but if it was overheating with my 6 or 6.5 inches, then trying to cut through something like that right now, I don't know if I want to try. So let's just go with this guy. Okay. Make sure the door closes behind me here. All right. And see how well the table supports it. I'm liking this table expansion. Seems to be working pretty well. What kind of wood? This is pear wood. Got it from a guy who was getting rid of a tree. So he had cut it down. He just advertised it on Facebook Marketplace. And I said, that looks like it could be good for what I like to do. So I'm just going to put the fence back in the same place I had it before. Trying to use the edge of the table here as my guide. All right, I need to get my jig out again. So I can straighten them out. Let me back this screw up a bit. All right. Come on. All right, probably going to be best if I can put something in right here. And you guys can kind of see what it is that I'm doing over here. I'm just trying to place my screws where they'll get the most purchase. So looking, where does it poke out the furthest? So right around there. I don't already have a hole there. So right about there. And my screw and my impact driver. Right. That should be good. So my fence is in place. My jig is in place. That should ride along my makeshift fence. And this is thicker or taller than before. So I need to go up a ways here. Let me see how tall this is. I'm going to cut off these little branches here because those cause some problems. So I'll just get my multi-tool, shave those off. All right, should make it a little easier. All right, so my maximum height now is about 8.5 inches. So need to reset my blade guard. Give me at least 8.5 inches of clearance. And I'll give myself about an extra 1/4 inch there. Hope that's enough. Okay. Okay, should be good for resawing. The other thing I'd recommend to you is tube blade setup. The other thing I would recommend to you, tube blade setup. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I've never worked with Pear wood before. It has a nice color to it. Yeah, this is my first time working with Pear as well. Nice table extension. Thanks. yeah, I just built that on a live the other night. If you want to go back and see kind of how I did it, or you can just look at it and kind of figure it out. So, all right, let's go from there. All right. So when it got kind of on the tail end here, and it doesn't really have any more wood touching the bottom surface of the table, the blade really wants to pull it down. So I had to exert more force on my jig here to kind of keep it up against the fence. But yeah, that's some cool color. I'm going to set this aside for now. I'll probably cut this more later. But just set it to the side for right now. And let's vacuum up some of that sawdust. All right, and all right, so I'm going to release it from these screws. As I've been doing, and I'll turn it. And then, oh yeah, I need to turn this upside down now. And now reconnect it. That didn't work because I probably need to drill a hole first. So see if that's enough. If I need to switch to the other drill bit, it'll let me go a little deeper. Nope, that's just not close enough. So need to go a different location. These middle holes should work better. So let me switch to my other drill bit here. I'll just drill a little bit in there. I'm not too worried about drilling holes in these logs because I'm not going very deep and it's on a portion of the log that's probably not really that useful anyway. Just on the outer edge. All right, that should work. And all right, start with that. See if that cuts off enough for it to be a useful endeavor. All right. Look up blade setup on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can do a little bit better setup on the blade. I've definitely looked into that before. I was kind of hoping that with this blade that the wobble would kind of self-correct as I ran it more, because I thought maybe it had just been stored in a way that had a that put that bend in it. So I thought, well, if I just run it enough, then it should be fine. But that hasn't really been the case so far. But I haven't really run it that much yet. And if worse comes to worse, I might end up just switching back to the 1/2 inch blade that was on it when I first got it. I thought switching to the 3/4 inch blade would be better for resawing. Maybe not, especially if there's a tensioning issue or something that it's just getting tensioned too much. So we'll see. But thanks for the ideas. I appreciate it. All right. Let's all right. So we'll disconnect that again now. That should give us enough reference surface for just running the board itself against our makeshift fence. All right. All right, get in there. All right. Where's my other screw? Did I leave the other screw over here? Or is it still in the... Are they both in there? Oh, yep. One's just embedded more. Okay. So, this guy over here. Let's see, which is going to be the better surface. Tough to say which would be better, but I need a vacuum anyway. All so which is going to be better? This side? Or this side? You know, neither one is really that great. So I think I'm gonna just adjust my fence and make a single cut. And then once I have it cut on the other side, I think I'll probably switch to using the other side. So 2 inches. Okay. All right. And get my push stick and shop vac. Actually, I'm going to try to remember to lower my blade before my cut this time. Lower my blade guard, I mean. See if that's an appropriate height. About 6 3/4. Yeah, that should be plenty. What do you guys think of that? That'll do. Got some pretty color to it. All right. And let's run it through. So put that in the kiln. And then I've got a bunch of this smaller stuff. Oh, remember I was going to work on cutting this down. So I've got more than 2 inches of width on that. Not sure how worth it is, but we can do after we vacuum up some of this. All right, so let me see what's going to be the best way for trying to cut this through. If I just try to go unsupported, the blade's going to want to pull this down. Let's try it. Let's try it, right? What's the worst that could happen? Hey, Hazard, thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. You sure you don't want to see what could go awry here on this cut? All right. This looks like a good candidate for the fire pit. I don't like to burn stuff that much. Well, I do like to burn things, but and then got a nice cut there from chainsaw, I'm guessing, when he tried cutting this thing down. Some cool figure. All right. Let me throw some more stickers up here. And just put that over here for now. And put that down here. And let me do some cleanup here. the dust collection could definitely use some improvement on this setup. Here's what it looks like right now. So I've got the the blades right here, and it's pretty exposed. So this little deal doesn't really, it doesn't encapsulate around the blade here. And so only the dust that falls into here is going to get sucked through into the shop vac. So that's not the greatest. But I also see a fair amount of dust that's coming down the top here, meaning that it's traveled all the way around, or all the way around with the blade, and is coming back out the other side. So it's not doing a great job on the dust collection. So I'm probably going to need to figure out some better methodology there at some point. So what do you guys think of the bandsaw setup? When I stopped trying to push the motor too hard, it didn't overheat. But I think it still could benefit quite a bit from upgrading to the 2 horsepower motor instead of just the 3/4 horsepower. What do you guys think? Will it make enough of a difference? Is it worth all the effort to switch out the motor? I figure that with a 2 horsepower motor that I shouldn't have any difficulty cutting to my full 12-inch resaw capacity. Up to around there. Let's see if that's, yeah, it's just about exactly 12. I might be able to get that to go a little higher, but right now it's like 11 and 15/16, give or take. Maybe 11 and 7/8. So I've got the supports down here that go to the edge of the expanded table. So one support there to the edge, and then another support on this side from the frame, up to that corner, up to that edge, and then I've got rails on either side of the table that support the expanded table right here. So I've got those supports and then the supports on the ends. So that seems pretty solid to me. I didn't have any problem at all with the table not feeling supported. I was a little concerned because I just have the one support on either side, right? And I just have it in the middle. So I was concerned that if I had a lot of weight like in one corner, that it might cause problems, but I really didn't have that issue at all. Maybe I was, just always not very close to the corner with the bulk of the weight, but worked pretty well. So for a first time out on the expanded table, I'm feeling pretty good about things. Probably going to need to clean this off and wax it again after I'm done. But yeah, I think that should work. So thanks everyone for joining me. Appreciate you being a part of my live stream, and we'll catch you all next time. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, become a member, all the good stuff. We want you to be able to be here next time.